morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. Hey, could I ask everybody to do me a big favor? Pull forward. Come on up, Andy. Right on. Everybody come up as close as you can. Let's get cozy. You guys don't mind? I know you love the back row, but I love feeling a little tight and cozy here. So if you guys would humor me, that would be awesome.
Are you worried we won't be able to hear you, Rick?
That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I was wondering, and make sure you can hear me.
Your timid voice.
My timid voice.
Very quiet.
Yes, my very quiet, timid heart, right? So guys, you know, just off a holiday weekend, I know your time is valuable, and being here means a whole lot to the company, to us. Thank you for being here. I know that it's important that we give you something at least you can leave with to get something out of your business and grow this year. So, gratitudes, wins, victories. What do we have? Oh, it's a great weekend.
I'm grateful for Rick Bentley.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. That is awesome. You're amazing.
It was Rick's birthday yesterday.
Aw, thank you.
Birthday.
Yes. 29 years young.
Nice.
Who else? I seen a couple hands pop up there. Other gratitudes and victories. Ruby.
I'm grateful for everyone that comes into role play.
I know,
in the
right?
morning. I mean, starting their day off with kind of getting hammered is awesome. You know, just bringing the energy and just coming in. I love being here because of everyone that comes into.
Yeah, it just really sets the tone for the day,
Yeah.
and I do really appreciate it also. So thanks for bringing that up. And go ahead.
I'm just grateful for these morning meetings. Friday I stayed home. I was, snow and everything. I'm not a driver, so I watched Ruby on the YouTube, and my kids are like, "What are you doing? What are you watching?" And I'm like, "This is the stuff you should be watching."
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
great. It just pumps me up. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for putting us on.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm extremely grateful for Nick. He's signing in today.
Woo-hoo!
So,
All right.
welcome, Nick. Yes. Coming to us from Keller Williams. We appreciate his journey he's taken. It's, been a little bit here. It's been in and out quite a bit, but thank you for being part of that. Matt.
Yeah, I'm grateful for, it's been 3 weeks now, but I'm grateful for a new year.
Yes.
And a fresh start to my business and the way I look at things. And I'm also grateful that the majority of success comes from perseverance, and that's something that I can learn.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Anybody else? So, announcements. The Everest Cell System Elevate 2020, February 4th through the 6th. This is going to be some extraordinary stuff. So our own George Morris is heading that out. But there's everything that's caused us to take this journey, at least for me over the last 5 years. It was 5 years in November for me, of learning this, and to think of how I have changed over the years and become something different than what I was is extraordinary, just to see the growth. So we're going to have this stuff moving forward. Be sure you sign up with that. Dylan Cooley is one you can get in touch with to make sure that you get registered for that. Be part of that. If you have any questions, ask one of us managers. Ruby's got the new book she's starting this week. Tomorrow? Yeah. Wow. It's not
Yeah.
Monday. I'm thinking it's Monday.
Chapters 1 through 3.
1 through 3.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good book, huh? I haven't read it yet, so got to catch up tonight. So, am I missing any announcements? Who's doing base camp this week? Do you remember?
It's going to be ZAP training, you guys.
ZAP training. That's
It's a
right.
great CRM provided by the company, so please come, bring your laptops if you want to, or notes. Take some detailed notes. It's really helpful.
Yeah, we get a lot of people always asking about ZAP and how to work it. Show up. We'll show you how. So that being said, let's turn it over to Mr. Morris. George.
Mr. George Morris.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Good.
All right.
This All Valley, or not All Valley. Oh my gosh, All Valley's in my head. I was just texting with that's the name of our escrow company in Ventura County. I was just texting with Sam Bell, and then I was looking for a text that Taylor sent me. Has anybody ever said, I didn't get a text, and he actually did get it, and then I never saw it? But because it didn't come up as a new text, or maybe all my stuff was open. Apologize, Taylor.
It's fine. You didn't need to read it till this morning anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said something, otherwise I would have never saw it.
It's okay.
New listing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, small group, Michael. So yeah, good to welcome. Good to have you on board. That'll be fun. So we're going to continue right where we were with the listing presentation. So I mean, we've been working for, gosh, I think, well, this is the third week where every single day we've been working on the actual presentation. So we're going from there. And we're hitting lunch today, right? You're on for that?
Absolutely.
You're not going to like bail on me?
Maybe last minute.
All right, just kidding, just kidding. All right, cool. All right, so just as a reminder, and we've talked about so many different angles of this, but I just want to remind everybody of just this outline, I guess is what I would call it. And the first thing, just as a reminder, right, is that intro. And I'm not going to go into great detail other than just, again, the thank you. We're going to acknowledge. We're going to give some level of a promise, and then I always like to talk about the fact of some level of commitment. And we'll role play that just very quickly, but right, I want to thank you, acknowledge you for allowing me to be here, promise you this is going to be an extraordinary use of your time, and let me share with you what I'm committed to making sure happens for you, and that is getting your home sold. The second is that game plan, right? So look, anything, another way you might put it, sometimes I put game plan, sometimes I put blueprint, but all I know is I don't care where I am, I don't care if it's a speaker at the front of the room, I don't care, just like I started, like, hey, we're going to talk, we're going to continue going down the path of listing presentation. Let people know where you're going. And so just as, again, as a reminder, we're going to talk more about maybe their needs, wants, and expectations. And my belief is, over these years, that if you know what people's expectations are, they give you the answers to everything. You know, sometimes we get so dead set on what we believe our presentation needs to be. My gosh, you can barely read that, but I think you guys know what that's going to drive me nuts. There we go. That we never let anybody know where we're going. So the challenge is that not only we don't let them know where we're going, but then the expectations. So just remember how important it is. Like, look, I mean, if people don't meet your expectations, you know, you're disappointed. If your car doesn't meet the expectations you had, you're disappointed. If you know, all of a sudden you're going to go do something socially and you don't have your expectations met, you're disappointed. If you're in a presentation and you don't even know what they expect, how can you meet their expectations? I know if I go to the doctor, right? I've had these this last 6 months, I've had these 2 spine surgeries. All I know is the first one didn't meet my expectations. So I did what? I had another one. So I mean, the thing is that just think about the fact of expectations. I have to believe that the Niners met your expectation 2 days ago. Did they not?
They exceeded it.
They exceeded it. See, wasn't that a beautiful thing? So my point is that just do not underestimate this. And then the needs and the wants are all about, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a heart here, and it's not that like, hey, love on them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you actually know what their heart and their soul and their This is when I always put the heart up, I'm thinking I need to know emotionally what they want, because if you can get to the emotion, my gosh, and then you can get to what they expect, it doesn't get much easier than that. I mean, everything's easier. I don't care whether it's a presentation. You know, you got Nick joining the company. I'm presuming that at some level we're either meeting or exceeding expectations. I know that's how it works. It's not. You're not trying to pull something over on someone. You're trying to, right? We're trying to be who we need to be for them. We're trying to give them what they need, and we can say, well, we know what they want. Well, do you for sure? Yes, I get the fact they want the home sold. Yes, I get the fact they want it maybe done in the shortest amount of time. Yes, I get the fact they want to net the most money possible. I get that. But those are also assumptions, and they may be accurate. But I'm just telling you, if you underestimate not really getting that down. Now look, the better the pre-qual is, there's no question, the better the pre-qual is, the easier this is, and there's very little time spent initially. But I do know that when I'm at the home, and maybe I know everything that they want, I know their expectations of their needs and their wants, if I don't get really clear here, then the thing is we're there forever. Or if we're not there, if we're there a short time, we never met their expectations. And so today we're gonna get into the questions that we ask. And we're gonna talk about how to merge any script you desire to use. I don't care what script you use, and this will make sense in a second when we go through this. So look, if we know our intro, we know our game plan, and yesterday, or I think was it either Thursday or Friday, we talked about the questions, and we started to go down how we ask questions. We started talking about the emotional questions. We started talking about the yes or no questions. We talked about open-ended question. But the key is to get to the emotion, right? What's most important to you about blank? So as we get into that, let's just move more into this question portion of this 6 steps, the 6 steps to our presentation. So when I'm looking at just the third component of this, and I'm just going to put up here questions. I'm not going to repeat yesterday like we did last week, and I think it was it recorded last week? Did we record it? So it's there.
Yeah.
If you guys want to pull it up, but I talk about, what's most important. Help me understand. One thing I didn't mention last week was this little statement here. And what is interesting is that everybody likes to clear up confusion. If I start off with, let's just say they say we want $500,000 for the property, and as an example, and yet it's only worth $450. This would be a great place to say, gosh, I'm confused. I'm confused as to why are we, or help me understand, because I'm confused as to why are we charging or trying to sell your home for $500,000, and yet the reality is we both know it's only worth $450. Gosh, I'm really confused. Help me understand. And my observation in that little relationship of confusion is that everyone likes to clear up confusion. If you have someone that's confused, you want to clear it up. I don't care whether it's one of your kids. I don't care if it's a spouse. I don't care if it's one of your friends. If they say, man, I'm confused, you're like, oh, let me share with you, Tim, what I really meant by that. So I would really encourage you to use that framework of language, because it really helps people get clear. Because if you're confused with what I consider basic everyday, if you, like, here's just an easy example of 450 versus 500, and you're confused, then they have to explain themselves as to, well, wait, why are we going down this path? Because I'm really confused, Tim. Help me understand what's important about, again, maybe I'm missing something, this 500, because we just concluded that the home's only worth 450. I'm confused. Help me understand. And it's really interesting to see them walk through that, like actually verbally say it, and then they usually, what's crazy is that when they come from that place of clearing up the confusion, they almost self-discover quickly where they should be.
I was going to say, so for that example, we wouldn't be talking about the price till after they...
Right.
till they
I'm
are,
just
but
giving a
that's just
simple
an
example. Right?
Okay.
But anything, hey, we want to be sold in this amount of time, and we're still selling it as a for sale by owner, but we've got to be moved in 30 days or less. I mean, gosh, I'm confused. You got to help me understand what's then important. What is it that's keeping you stay as a for sale by owner when I know you need to be moved? Gosh, I'm really confused here, Tim. So help me understand. And it just allows them the opportunity to clear up the confusion. Seems like a simple thing, but it's crazy how simple it is, actually. Just, I'm confused. Clear it up, because it's not what you're saying. It's not making any sense.
Well, that's leading them, George.
Right?
I mean,
It's
that's
like my
leading them.
common thread for all my teenage kids. I'm confused. I'm confused. Right, Taylor?
Always.
All right, just checking. All right. Okay? Any thoughts, comments to that? Okay. All right, so I have 3 questions that for nearly 25 years have been my opening. Now look, the better this pre-qual is done, we're not talking about pre-quals right now, but I do know this, that if I only got to speak to the husband, and even though as much as I wanted to speak to the other spouse, the wife, or whatever, the reality is I may not have gotten to talk to them. So I still want to know their needs, wants, expectations. So my opening line is always number 1. Ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish? Now here's the deal. I don't care whether you're following your script, your own. This is my script. I've just found that's been one of the most powerful things that I can open up with. It takes all the pressure off of me. But this is also where, if you say, man, I really, really love, just want to put these things, I really love the fact of opening up at that point with, hey, I've got 3 real important questions for you. Number 1, do you actually have to sell? This is where you're going to put this. All right, I'm going to walk in. If I get too assumptive, just want to remind you, if you get too assumptive, hey, I'm excited about getting home of the market, it's all rah! I mean, and you may have no connection with them of how great it is and how you're going to list right now and let's jump right to the kitchen table and make it happen and do it in 1 minute or less. I have no problem with that, as long as, just remember this as just a side note, the higher the rapport, the more assumptive you can be. And I have no problem with being assumptive. Hey, this is going to be great when we put the home on the market. This will be great if we consider putting the home on the market. Well, this will be great when we put the home on the market. It just depends on how connected you are. And you know when you're connected. Remember, rapport is connection. Connection leads to comfort, and when people are comfortable, they allow you to what? Lead them. So stop thinking that, well, wait, I said the script. I go back to what I've asked all of us to consider this idea, and it's pretty simple. Just think. What would happen is I would go use a particular script or a dialogue, and it wouldn't work. I'd be like, huh? And then I have someone go, just follow the script far harder. You need to follow it closer. And I'm like, well, wait, hold on a second here. What do you mean if there's no connection and there's no rapport and they're so uncomfortable and I'm being so assumptive, which even makes us less connected, less likely to have them let me lead them. And then I keep pile driving them with a script, and yet I have forgotten that if I don't get a connection and I don't get rapport and I don't know and I don't get that level of comfort so they'll allow me to lead them. I love the fact I had just another conversation with a guy who had a surgery from the same spine doctor that I had one. And it was really interesting. They said, man, I just love that guy. He's so dynamic. And it was interesting. I said it right to myself, isn't it interesting? You like him, so you have him do surgery for you. And you say, well, you don't have to like him. I agree, you don't have to like him. But when you've got 10,000 choices across the Wasatch Front, and everybody thinks they do it better than everybody else, and they promise everything known to mankind to get a home sold, and there isn't some level of connection, and I'm not worried about the like. What I'm worried about is that you're connected. And if you aren't connected, it is unlikely that they're going to allow you to lead them. And I look back in December when I said to my doctor, I said, what do you think I should do? Isn't that interesting? Hey, what do you think we should do next, Matt? What do you think we should do next, Tim? You say, does that really happen? Gosh, it happened to have someone open up my middle of my back because I said, what do you think we should do? Because I was willing to allow them to lead me. So stop the nonsense, really the nonsense of believing that you can just get away with a script. When you can't just get away with script, you have to get away with the fact of that presence. You have to get away with that connection. And once that connection is there, you're going to win. And I have believed that the number one building block above all things that you will do to build rapport and connection is the ability to ask great questions. So remember that. The ability to connect is your ability to ask a question. So what do you want? What's important? Help me understand. Share with me. And get deeper into their heart or their emotion. Right? I'm not saying you have to know their lives inside and out, but what I do know this. My spine surgeon knows that I golf. He golfs. We've been to Scotland. He's been to Scotland. I know where he lives. I know who his friends are. And you say, well, why would he do that? Because that's what people do who want to connect to their people so they can lead them. And I'm not believing just because he golfs and I golf that he's a great surgeon. I never think that. But I sure like the fact that when I see him, that he's almost as much as a friend, a mentor, a coach to taking care of my spine. I'm just giving a simple example that is normal life. And then we come into real estate and we act like it's a whole different ball game. And you guys know this. Have you ever walked into let's talk about doctors or a nurse, and you walk in and meet that doctor or that nurse, and you walk away going, they're bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and you want nothing to do with them. And you say, well, yeah, but they're the ones who can take care of you. Well, just for the record, I've talked to a lot of people about spine surgeons, and guess what? There's probably 10 others that I could use. They're all make the claim that they are the very best. So the thing is that I love the fact that I have a spine surgeon, not only that I like, not only that I could even go hit dinner with if I wanted to. We won't, but I could. And I still like the fact that he can guide me and he can lead me through making sure I take care of my spine. So I just think like, wait, that's normal life. And then we come to this sales process and we like somehow act like it's something totally different than real life. And it's just not, guys. It's just not. Am I making any sense, Joanna?
Absolutely.
Spot on.
I like the fact, give me your name again. Hey, you.
Me?
Yeah, you. Jim?
Yeah.
All right, Jim. You and Joanna match. I like the jacket. You're dialing it in today, Jim. Yeah.
Trying something different.
Yeah. It's coming Santa. I like it. It's looking good, Jim. All right. Okay. So, first question I always ask is, hey, Tim, look, ultimately, there's a lot of things that can be done to get your home sold. Ultimately, I'm just trying to figure out what are you trying to accomplish? What's important to you about getting your home sold? And I just want to point out, this is the same question, whether I'm working with a buyer, Tim, same thing. Hey, ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish in the purchase of a home? That's always been kind of my opener. And if your spouse was there, I would say, hey, ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish? Hey, I've had the opportunity to visit with Tim, but I really like to know what Tara, right? Tara was what she's trying to accomplish, and I haven't had a chance to visit with you. So, hey, Tara, ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish? Because I've had a chance to talk with Tim. I want to get down to what do they expect, what do they want, and what do they need? Help me understand. Share with me what's most important to you. And I'm just going to keep driving down to get to the heart, the emotion, expectations, so that I can get the contract signed in the end of the day. Makes sense, Taylor.
Exactly.
You're with me.
100%.
You're looking a little dazed.
I'm just excited.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Number 2. What do you... Look, guys, we can get into big arguments about this. Like, well, isn't that supposed to be done on the prequel? Here's, just for the record, Ruby, guess what? I asked this same question on the prequel. What do you expect from me as your agent? And if I feel like I'm in a connection and rapport and say, what do you expect from me when I put your home on the market? What do you expect from me when we sell your house? What do you expect from me as we're looking for your home? What do you expect from me as we're negotiating the contract? Hey guys, you know how simple your life could be if you just figured out what people expected instead of trying to guess? And you can say, I know that I've had other great attorneys who have said, hey, what do you expect from me as we go through this? Like, again, they could walk with their total ego and say, I know everything, don't even consider asking, but I have to tell you, I've had enough attorneys in my life now that I've dealt with that I'm like, some of you are horrible, and I want to ask the question. So, hey, what are you expecting to have happen? Because I want to know. Because I want to I want my expectations met. Matt?
So there's so many good questions that you just said, like, what do you expect from me in this process, or while we get the home sold? What would you ever open that up with just without anything on the tail end? Like, what do you expect from me? Or what do you expect from me in this presentation?
Or just even, what do you expect? Hey, what else are you trying to accomplish? They answer. So great, you've shared with me so many things. Just in simple terms, what do you expect? And I guarantee you they're going to tell you.
Right.
Now, if they don't tell you, can you lead them? Like, here's a good example. Hey, Tim, what do you expect in regards to how I communicate with you? Oh, well, I expect you to communicate with you. And we haven't even gotten into soundbite. We're going to get into all these things. And guys, I'm just trying to tell you, I know you guys hang out with me a lot. Well, it really hasn't been that much over the last few years because I've been so crazy with cleaning up the things we did in California. But I'm just telling you, man, just please attend. I'm telling you, this is the stuff that I believe it will put it all together. Like, right, I'm looking now back on Friday as an example and like saying, okay, now what did we talk about? Okay, we talked about questions. We're just going to put this all together in one package. And to where for 2.5 days, just sharpen the saw. You know, the good example, right? The little story of the guy who walks into the sawmill or the lumber yard and says, hey, hire me. They say, hey, we're not hiring. He's like, oh man, I'm the best there is. I saw wood like no one else. You will never meet anybody who saws wood faster than I do. He's all, I'm so great. And then the guy goes, all right, fine, I'll give you a chance. First day, man, he blows it out of the water. He's doing 5 times the work as anybody else. Next day, he's doing 2 or 3 times the amount of work. Next day, he's doing about the same. The next day, he does about the same. The guy calls him and says, sorry, man, like I told you, you can't be working here if you're just going to do what everyone else is doing. And he goes, well, no, you don't understand. He goes, what? What don't I understand? He goes, I never took time to, do we know what I'm going to say? Sharpen my saw. Just make sure you do. I don't. It's the reason why I'm highly encouraging you to get out to Tony Robbins. I know Lynn's and a big group are going. I just would encourage you to make sure.
Pricing on it too.
Pardon?
We still have pricing on it too for VIP.
Good. Just sharpen the saw. Robbins is so much about working from the inside out. I just would encourage you to make sure you're doing that stuff. Okay? All right. Ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you expect from me? And then my third question was always about, like, what do you expect from me? We'll get into the details of some role plays of communication, but the same question, what do you expect from C21? Right? I mean, maybe they expect an open house. Maybe they expect a certain way you advertise. Maybe they expect a certain way, a tour is being done. Maybe, I mean, look, the thing is, some of you come from some pretty extraordinary sales backgrounds. And I guarantee you that if you've had any level of success, there's no way you haven't done something like this. Now, all I want is that you're conscious of why you're getting what you want. If you've had success, I guarantee you met people's expectations. But life would be so much more simpler if you just simply would find out what those expectations before you ever showed up. When I'm coaching people, if I was sitting with you, Nick, I'd say, hey, Nick, before we really get deep into this, tell me, what do you expect from your coaching? What do you want to have happen? What would you like to see happen from this? How would you know it was a success? And all of a sudden he'll be like, well, I need to make dot, 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 dot. And I'm like, oh, well, I can do that. Have you ever considered, again, the same thing, the sales process of selling a home or hoping to buy a home? It's the same thing. What do you expect? And you may say, well, that seems so simple. Because it is. Really, it is. You've heard this before. I mean, it's simple. But somehow we walk in and we act like this freakazoid when we walk into some presentation instead of having like a real conversation. So just get real. Be honest. Share with the things that yes you do. Share with them what are asking the expectations. And then I sometimes will even break this up. What this really means, what do you expect from me? Ultimately, what are you trying to accomplish? This is, by the way, where I come into these needs and wants. Gosh, what do you ultimately want? So let me share with you, ask you then, is this what you really need? Oh yeah, we really need this. Okay. Well, guys, share with me if you didn't get that what you need, because you might not get what you need, and you might even not get what you want, because life can be pretty tough in the market. But what would you be okay with? And I'm going to get deeper into this question. And you say, well, wait, why didn't I do that in the prequel? You can. I'm not here to suggest that you can't. But I also know that I like to simply reestablish the emotion of where we're going. Because if there is not a connection emotionally, no one will follow. Remember, people make decisions based on their emotion, and then who knows the end of this? And
they use their logic to
justify, right?
Yeah.
And justify with logic, right? So we make decisions based on our emotion, and we justify it by our logic. All of a sudden, Joanna, you're in Dillard's, you're in Nordstrom's, you see the outfit you cannot live without, and then you see the sales price, and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy it because it's on sale. And then you buy it, and then you're like, well, I had to buy it because it was on sale. I mean, I got to bring all this logic to this idea of what I did. I just want you to really think about what you're doing in your life. Again, I go back to just think about like normally how we're operating in our life. That's all you've got to bring to the table is bring to the table what's normal. Right? Bring to the table. It's no big deal. And if you do, good things will happen. So, now here's the art of this. This is what I want to talk about. And I'm in the middle is a good word there. Again, think. Sometimes, April, I'll sit down and I'll go, hey, thanks for letting me be here. Gosh, it is so great to be with you. I just want to tell you, you have a beautiful home. And if they don't have a beautiful home, gosh, at least acknowledge them for their time. Some people say, oh, well, are you going to lie to them and tell them they have a great home? No, don't lie. But at least acknowledge them for the time they gave you. They can never get that back. You can't ever get yours back. At least acknowledge them for their time. Maybe a promise of what's possible by working with you. Like, I want to promise you, you're never going to be in question of what I'm going to do to help you. And I want to share with you how committed I am to helping you. Hey, before we jump into anything, and I've got a great game plan that I want to share with you. But before I get into that, and this is sometimes what I want to do to break the ice, I might come right over here and go, hey, just quickly share with me, what are you ultimately trying to accomplish? Okay, great, blah, 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 blah. Hey, share with me more, tell me more. Is there anything else? Share more. Okay, hey, gosh, you know what? I'm so excited to know more about your needs, your wants, your expectations. And I also wanted you to recognize that after the needs, want, expectations, we're going to tell you and share with you what we're going to do to get that home sold. And certainly want to make sure I meet those expectations of yours in regards to Century 21. Hey, I want to make sure that we go over the market conditions. I want to share with you our pricing strategy. I want to share with you the actual price of them. And look, if everything's making some really good sense, I'm going to ask you to take care of some paperwork with me. Does that sound fair enough? Okay, great. Hey, John, let me get deeper in this. What are you expecting from me as your agent? Guys, if you went on a presentation with me, when people go on them with me, and it's been a little bit since, but people will go on the presentation, they will look back and after we come out, they'll be looking like, what was that? And I'm like, what do you mean? You are so laid back. Like you are kind of like no big deal. I still remember, obviously our dear friend for many of us, the late Dave Stocco, I still remember walking out of the waterside condos on a listing of a lady we listed. We walk out and he looks at me, he starts laughing, he's all, what was that, Grandpa Morris? And he called me Grandpa. And I go, what? He goes, she hugged you when you were leaving. I said, well, that doesn't seem that odd. He goes, I don't hug anybody after I've left. But she wanted to give me a hug. And I only say that not because I'm trying to get a hug, because I'm lonely. No, I'm trying to, but there's this such a deep rapport and connection. They're so grateful that you showed up in their life to lead them, to navigate. You know what they expect. They know that you understand their wants and their needs. Therefore, they let you lead them, and it's no big deal. And when we signed the paper, I still remember the close. Hey, I don't remember her name, but I was just said, hey, so are you ready to get started? And she's like, yes, and signed it. And we were only there for 45 minutes. It wasn't some crazy thing. And I think he was so taken back. And by the way, the same thing of Belladonna not too many years ago. I went on an appointment with her and she was struggling. We went on the appointment. She had set it up. We sat it on the couch. We didn't stand up. We didn't sit at the kitchen table. We sat on this guy's couch. And we walked out and she's like, I don't know if I've ever seen you so laid back. And I go, well, what's the problem? She's like, you are so easygoing in those. I'm like, well, because I don't need to be like this intense, ferocious freak like I am sometimes at the front of the room trying to motivate, the immovable agent who's stuck in their ways. I don't need to be that guy. It's not necessary. So just as you're moving through this, remember the art is, I might start with even the thank you. And then I come over here and say, hey, but I got a few questions for you. Hey, now that we've talked about that, let me just share with you where we're really going to be heading today. And I just want to point out that I hope that you'll take this as an art because, man, if this isn't fun, I'd rather do something else. You say, well, I don't have to like everything I'm doing. Well, I agree. You don't have to like everything you're doing every day. I get that. But it sure is a lot more fun when you're walking in and having a conversation because you deeply care about someone. You want the best for them. Your heart is in the right place. Your intentions are in the right place. Sure is a lot more fun. I mean, I get you can go probably right. I don't necessarily say pull something over on someone, but, be so non-versatile or unversatile that you don't, what's the right way? Is it non-versatile? Come on, Joanna, is it non or un? I can say unversatile? No, see, I don't think so. That doesn't sound right, Nick. Doesn't sound right, does it? Yeah, see, I knew it.
Different word. I'm not flexible.
There we go. There we go. All right. So just weave into this. Have fun. Enjoy your life. Don't make it so crazy uncomfortable. This is the stuff that I have to tell you, I just want to share this, that there's a person who is, I guess a gentleman, I already said this, but there's a gentleman who is deeply in other coaching programs, and I remember I went through this with him, and he changed his closing ratio into the 80s and 90s, within a month or two. And what was really interesting is that he then had a conversation with one of the people who was a coach and mentor, and he said, if you talk to me ever again about the listing presentation, I'm going to cancel my contract. Do we understand ourselves? And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, well, yeah, but he goes, I'm telling you, stop talking to me about the presentation. because my presentation is 50% closing better than it ever has in so many words. And it's changed everything. So I just want to point out that I'm not trying to pull something over on someone. I'm not trying to tell you it has to be this way. I just have to tell you that I've just thought about this so much that when I go into a presentation, it's so easy going, low key, so much fun. I'm not worried about it. I'm sitting there paying attention to how I feel. What's my rapport like? Boy, I better ask some questions to get more connected. Okay, now I can come back and talk about our game plan. All right, you know what? Let's get back to our expectations. Let's make sure it's meeting their needs and wants. I mean, guys, some of this is where you get the opportunity to think. And I have this, this thing I have in my head that I have this big challenge with this independence versus, my gosh, I cannot spell today, and dependence. And you can ask the question which one you are, but I can just tell you that, man, I don't want you to be dependent on me. I want you to be able to look at that and go, wow, I can craft something that's mine, that speaks with the confidence. And when I can just tell you that when your mind and your heart are one, you'll speak as that. So look, whatever script and dialogue you choose to use, whatever words you choose to speak from, as long as your mind and your heart are connected, the words that you say, they'll be felt. I was inviting someone, it was Rolando, Tim, to this, Gil. Johnny, you remember that guy? And he said, man, he goes, dude, you need to put more out on Instagram. I go, why? He goes, because you speak with such confidence that people want to hear it. And he goes, I'd like to hear more from you. And I said, oh, I have some stuff on Facebook. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. I mean, the old people's side of the world? And he joked, we had a lot of fun. And I said, yeah. I said, I'll put more on. I go, we're doing some more on Instagram. I said, but he really talked about the connection, Tim, of the confidence. Well, the confidence doesn't just, you can walk in and go, I'm confident, look at me. Well, part of it is that your head and your heart, your mind and your heart are connected. Then all of a sudden, whenever you speak, you don't have to sit there and manufacture words without the presence. It's really who you are. And I think it's my mantra of the year. If your presence is not getting you what you want, your words will not either. If your presence is not getting you what you want, your words won't either. It won't happen. So you got to make sure this for yourself is connected. Because if it's not connected, then none of these things that you do will probably work. And maybe on occasion they'll work. But if your presence isn't getting you what you want, and the presence that you're looking for, really what we're talking about is this confidence that we each need. When we walk into a particular situation, and it has to do with connecting our mind and our heart, connecting our emotion and our mind. And then as we act, as we speak, as we go about our day, people want to follow because you're someone who knows where they're going. You have a constitution to yourself. Joanna?
I was just going to say that reminds me of the age-old question, is it more important to have a good mindset or more important to know your scripts? Is it scripts or mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
Skills or mindset? And what you're talking about here is more along the lines of mindset. If we know who we are and we're comfortable and confident with who we are, then we can love on our clients and we can meet their needs and their expectations, right?
Right. And maybe in simpler terms, I always say this. I love that this will make sense to you. I mean, look, you've known me for how many years now? How many years have we gone?
Oh my gosh. I've been a realtor for 13 years and I've been with you ever since.
Okay, so do you really think it matters what script I use?
No.
Do you really think people go, oh man, this is the script? No, what the script means to you, right, to whoever it is that all of a sudden your mindset, ding, 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 right script, heart, emotion, soul, whatever you want to call it, right, feel, you're like, okay, I can speak this script with confidence. Well, I a long time ago lost the idea that it had to be the exact words. Tell me, I don't care what it is. I've got 3 real important questions for you. Great. I used to start off with, I've got 4 things I want to share with you. It doesn't matter. I work with lots of buyers and sellers in the area. How can I help you? Versus, hey, I want to preview your home, spend 30 minutes with you, sharing how to get your home sold in 30 days or less. Then I have people say, hey, I've got a survey. Where's this? That's always my favorite. Survey. Where's the survey going and who are you surveying and for what purpose? What lie are you starting off with? But that's a whole other conversation we could have because that just destroys my confidence because I'm going to start with a lie. I'm just telling you that the words, yes, matter. I'm not saying they don't. But I can tell you that if you can't line up the heart, or your heart and your mind, then whatever you speak, and that's why I talk about this unwavering confidence, right? Living in a place of gratitude, getting really clear on where you're going, and then executing. And the more that you have gratitude, know where you're going, and execute, the higher your confidence will go. Just remember that. That's the key to unwavering confidence. You can go to an event. Here's what's interesting. An event, just think about the common sense of this, and then we'll wrap up. I go to an event. I go to Tony Robbins. I go to Brian Buffini. I go to Mike Ferry. I go to Tom Ferry. I go to Grant Cardone. I go to 10X. I go to whatever. And you walk away going, oh yeah, man, I'm going to slay it. Oh, well, you know what's fascinating? Why you say you're going to slay it? It's not complicated. Oh, hold on a second. You know where you're going. And it seems like common sense, but you walk out of Tony Robbins and you're like, okay, no more. Total resolve. This is where I'm headed. This is where I'm going. And then all of a sudden you're confident. And then you come home and you come into a place of fear, and then your gratitude is gone, and then you get unclear of really where you're going, and then you stop executing, and then you're like, I don't understand why I'm not confident. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. The fact is that you came home, you didn't stay in a place of gratitude, you forgot where you were going, and you didn't execute, so therefore you lacked the confidence and belief, and you had I got to go back to the seminar, I got to go back. And then you feel really good again, because you know where you're going, you come from a place of gratitude, you're going to I am going to execute like nobody's business today, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to get my accountability partners, I'm going to do all of it. And then sometimes you do, and then all of a sudden, boom, it breaks free, meaning you do what I just said, and all of a sudden your heart and your mind are connected, and you speak with such confidence, and you become unwavering in this business. And the thing that's so crazy is that when that happens, it almost changes overnight. And the thing that's interesting for every one of us in this room is I'm just challenging you about this dependence and independence. You can get really dependent and believe I have to go to this event to become confident. And I'm here to tell you that I promise you, yes, it can help. Yes, it can clarify your vision of what you want your life to be. Yes, it can get you connected to a higher level. I get that. But I am telling you that you can do that without going anywhere but sitting down and writing in your journal, get clear on where you're going, exactly what you're going to do to get it, and then all of a sudden just weave your whole life with the emotion of gratitude, and you will be unwavering in your confidence. Execution, know where you're going, and weaving it with gratitude, and you will feel like you've always been in a seminar day after day after day. And those are habits, those are rituals, those are disciplines that each one of us lives through. So as we wrap this up, just remember, this is the fun part, but you get to own it. And if you have man, I really love the questions, right? I'm not in a fight to say, should you say I have 3 really important questions. Number 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Man, if you want to put that there, knock yourself out. I have no problem with that. But man, don't walk in with not having connection and being so assumptive that you never get back to rapport and connection. Don't forget to tell people where they're going. I don't care what event you went to. A lot of you like that, you went down to Mike's event. I guarantee you, if you pay attention, he got out on stage and he said, let me share what we're going to do for the next 2 or 3 days. And most importantly, write notes. Most importantly, smile. Most importantly, have fun. Most importantly, meet people you've never met. He's telling you the game plan. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going. We know what's so scary about Tony Robbins when you first go for the first time? Guess what they don't do?
Game plan.
They don't tell you what's going to happen. You're like, oh my gosh, what is this going? What's next? You're freaking your mind. And then I found the second time I went, although I've been to this 11 different times, the first one, I'm just trying to make sure I'm protecting myself. Because I got to make sure that I know what's going to happen. Now I know what's going to happen. I totally expect what's going to happen. I know the game plan of what's going to happen. Yeah, a little thing here or there's change. But I can live with a little bit of change because I now know what's going to happen. It's just common sense. So don't go into a presentation without letting people know where they're going. Don't go into a presentation without thanking them, right? Making a commitment to them. And then don't get so silly that you can't ask some great questions. And right here is where I would encourage you, have 20 questions. And I haven't gotten to this, I forgot the part, but we don't have time.
I'm just gonna speak to that, George, because I also, now being on the leadership side with Tony Robbins, is one thing that I will say is he doesn't tell you the game plan because he doesn't know what the hell he's gonna do.
Yeah.
No, he really doesn't. Like, they'll say, well, this is what we think today will be, try to be in the room at this time, and leaders be here, and this and that, and then like 10 minutes later, you're hearing on the walkie-talkie, be here. You know, like, and he's changing the game plan and he's going from place to place.
Yeah.
I will tell you the one thing, and being able to see that, for me, it was a testament to learning the fundamentals of scripts, the questions, and everything, and then even coming back and myself even being able to see that after I had seen Tony, being able to apply that and understanding, because I know my scripts, because I know my dialogue, because I know my information, I actually get to be present, I actually get to have that confidence, I actually get to be who I need to be as a
Absolutely.
person, because I have all of that dialed in already. And that's the one thing, is he can jump from place to place because he knows his game plan and he knows
Everything
the
is a
result
script.
of where he's going.
Right.
And so he knows what he's doing, although he might not stay in the one spot. It's because, okay, this is a great example. He may get a transformation that's now about suicide and he has to go over here, and now he's in a whole different topic because he's on this topic of the 6 human needs, when 6 human needs wasn't supposed to come up for another 5 hours, right? And so it's just, it's a testament to knowing your script, knowing your game plan, knowing your dialogue, so that you actually can be present for your clients, so you actually get to be who you need to be for other people. And so I do think there's that fine balance of, like you said, that helps you build your confidence, it helps you build your mind, and it helps you be who you need to be for other people.
No question.
It's not about you.
And if you look at this, you guys can see there's a script in this, right?
Of course.
And I'm just challenging you to think through your script, whatever that script's going to be, and pull it together so that you have that unwavering confidence. And also, I just, you know this, you've been at it probably more than I have, and I'm just telling you, I guarantee you everything that he's doing is a script.
Everything.
But there's such versatility with it. There's so much emotion with it because it's whatever's needed because of the script. So we got to roll. But just you guys have heard I usually talk about CAMP in there: conditions, ability, motivation, and price. The majority of your questions are all in that relationship. What's the condition? What's the ability? What's the motive? And what's the price of the home? And most of the questions that you're asking are always about those things. Okay? All right, here we go. You ready?